What do we have here? It looks like some sigil work and some purple flowers. I need to stop making comments about this. Everyone knows what these are by now. Kind of. Hello everyone, my name is I have the wrong control scheme on. Let's fix that. There we go. Hello everyone, my name is Veritas and welcome back to Destiny. Now today is probably Saturday. It's actually probably the day after Friday. This video is late. Sue me. It's late for reasons. Anyway, Xur is here. He is an exotic merchant somewhere hiding in a social space, except Felwinter Peak, because that's pay to win. This week he happens to be down in the Hunter Bar. That's why I'm playing on my Hunter now. I figured it would be appropriate to use the Hunter in the Hunter Bar. He also has something pretty neat for the Hunter that I want to show off, but let's talk about what he's got. This is Xur, Agent of 9. He's down here hiding, being a creepy mother effer. But let's see what he's got this week. I already know what he has because people keep spoiling it for me. But interesting bundles, though. Interesting. Legacy engram this week is a helmet engram. This will turn into a year 1 helmet. So max light 170 there, unless you're a collector looking for something specifically from year 1. I don't recommend picking this up ever. The Titan exotic this week is the Crest of Alpha Lupi. Kind of a useless Titan exotic nowadays. It was better back in the day. 91% stat roll on this. Supers generate an extra orb, and you can revive and be revived faster. So kind of a utilitarian chess piece, but like I said, there are better exotic pieces of armor for the Titan that aren't this. It also has the bad version of elemental recovery on it, so I don't recommend picking this up at all. You're better to stay away from this for this week. Save your strange coins for maybe next week. Moving into the Hunter exotic this week, we have the Mask of the Third Man. This helmet looks pretty neat, actually. It's why I'm on my Hunter right now. It's pretty cool. With a hood up, it's even better. But it just looks creepy. It's very strange. What this does is unstable current. Arc blade attacks use less super energy. So the usefulness of the helmet is kind of bad, but the helmet looks neat. So if you're in it for looks, go ahead and pick this up. Hands-on second thoughts and invigoration here, or innervation here. So that's kind of okay. The stat roll on this is pretty bad though. It's actually one of the bad ones here, 82% on this. So if you are a blade dancer, there are probably better alternatives for you than this one, but Mask of the Third Man doesn't show up very often. So pick it up while you can if you're a collector or you've been looking for something kind of fun. Otherwise, you can probably skip this one this week. Kind of useless in terms of a Hunter exotic. Moving into the Warlock exotic this week, we have the Skull of Dire Ahamkara. Take reduced damage while using Nova Bomb, and improve energy drain abilities. So it's kind of interesting for Voidwalkers, but again, there are much better alternatives for exotics for the Warlock, specifically, Voidfang vestments, the Ram, Ophidian Aspect, pretty much anything else is better. Transversive Steps, there's literally a better one for every slot than Dire Ahamkara. So I recommend staying away from this unless you really want it. 79% stat roll here, so not a really good alternative. Pretty bad in fact. It's a pretty bad helmet. Unless you need it for collection purposes, I will again say stay away from the Warlock exotic this week. Pretty much every exotic you can kind of stay away from. But let's talk about Hardlight. Hardlight is an auto rifle exotic primary. This thing is interesting to say the least. It's interesting. I wouldn't say it's good, I'd say it's interesting. So this thing has volatile light. Rounds fired from this weapon have no damage fall off, overpenetrate targets, and ricochet off of hard surfaces. This thing is ridiculous. In the Crucible, it's actually kind of fun to mess around with. In PvE, you're an idiot if you use it, or you're just trying to have fun. One of the two, kind of interchangeable there. You have quick draw, fitted stock, glass half full, and spray and play. So it's a nice weapon to mess around with. I don't recommend using it though. It's kind of one of the more gimmicky exotics. It's just there for fun, not really there for being all around good. So pick it up if you want to have some fun with it, or you're collecting. Otherwise, you can skip that one this week. But the interesting thing now are the weapon bundles. Monte Carlo and Super Spy, I believe he also had last week, so that's kind of interesting. If you missed it last week, it's here again, so go ahead and pick that up if you want it. And the Red Death with Steel Witch is the other weapon bundle. Pretty good stuff here. I actually much prefer Steel Witch on Red Death as compared to the default skin or the other one, White Witch. So if you're looking for a Red Death with a nice weapon ornament on it, go ahead and pick up a Steel Witch. Otherwise, Monte Carlo and Super Spy we can look at both of these in the kiosk when we head over there near the end of this video. So if you're interested, stick around and we'll look at those in the kiosk. Moving down to curios this week, we have Plasma Drive and Emerald Coil. These can be used to upgrade a rare quality Sparrow that can be purchased at the Vanguard or Crucible Quartermasters into a legendary quality Sparrow with a blue or green trail respectively. So if you're looking for a blue trailed or green trailed Sparrow, that's how you make one. Heavy ammo synthesis, 3 for 1 or 10 for 3. Always do 10 for 3. It's technically cheaper. These can be used to trade into faction for faction reputation. Those packages drop up to 400 light items, so good stuff there for leveling an alt or leveling yourself. They can also be used to replenish heavy ammo entirely while in combat, so for raids and stuff, it's pretty useful. 3 of Coins is a stackable effect consumable. Basically, these will allow you a chance to get an exotic engram to drop off of an ultra you kill or a crucible match you complete. How to use these: use 1 of them, go through a strike, kill the boss. Use 1, go through the next strike, kill a boss. Rinse and repeat until you get exotic engrams. Same thing with crucible matches. Use 1, complete the match. Use 1, complete the match. Continue. Don't use 5 at once. Does not increase your chances. As you continue to use them without getting them, the chances will burn, and every chance you don't get one, your next chance increases until you're guaranteed basically to get one. So have fun with those. Don't use 5 at once. That's not how it works. Glass needles are a very endgame material. I don't recommend picking these up until you have a lot of strange coin motes and exotic shards because they're expensive to buy. They can be used to reroll exotic armors though, so they're kind of useful. If you really want the Mask of the Third Man and a 82% stat roll scares you, you can go ahead and pick up a Mask of the Third Man, some glass needles, and go ahead and twist the fate. That will reroll the stats, allocations, and the perks on this helmet, and it will make it so it could possibly be better than 82%. RNG is a factor here, so re-rolling is a dangerous gamble. Since this is a super-based helmet, it affects your super directly. It will always have intellect, so you'll never get one with discipline and strength. You will always have intellect to some degree, so be careful with that. There are also some perks that exotics can and can't have, as well as there being stats that exotics can and can't have, so be mindful of that when re-rolling things. Always be mindful of what you can and can't get when re-rolling. Don't waste your time. The Skull of Daiharam Kara will always have intellect as well, and Crest of Alpha Lupi may or may not always have intellect. I'm not entirely sure on that one, but I can tell you for a fact that these two will always have intellect on them regardless of how many times you re-roll them. Moving down to material exchange, we have a Mote of Light for 2 strange coins. Worst conversion rate in the game. Never use it unless you're desperate for motes of light. It's bad. Don't ever do this. But exotic shards, 1 for 7 strange coins. We will show you how to duplicate these in a second here. But if you want more of these without having to buy them for strange coins, follow me to the Vanguard, and we will duplicate some stuff because that's how the game works. But that's where Zuri is. That's what he's got. Recommendations: if you really want the armors he's selling, I'd recommend picking up some glass needles and re-rolling them to better stat rolls. If you're not worried about stats, go ahead and pick up like the Mask of the Third Man. It's kind of cool looking for fashion destiny. Otherwise, hard light's kind of fun to mess around with, and the weapon bundles are both pretty neat. The weapons are actually kind of nice. We will look at those when we get down to the Vanguard. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's another week where he doesn't have anything super good. Nothing really stands out to recommend. There are better exotic alternatives than the ones he's selling, so hopefully next week we have something good, but this week another one of those save your coins, save your time kind of thing. But here we are at the Exotic Weapon Blueprints kiosk. Go ahead and enter this, and let's look at the Monte Carlo real quick while we're talking about the Monte Carlo and Red Death. The skin or the ornament he's giving you is Super Spy, so nice red and black here if you want it. Monte Carlo is pretty fun for a melee build. It increases melee cooldown when you get kills and do damage with your gun, so pretty neat there if you want that. That's what it looks like with the ornament. Talking about the Red Death though, Red Death with Steel Witch is actually pretty nice. Steel Witch looking something like that, very, very cool there. Red Death's pretty nice. Each kill heals you and speeds up reloads. Very, very good pulse rifle if you're looking for that. I recommend picking up that bundle if you don't have Red Death yet. Very worth your time, very worth your in-game monies. So anyway, let's talk about duplicating exotic shards. Go ahead and pick up a Truth rocket launcher. Any rocket launcher or machine gun will do. The swords and Sleeper Simulant don't work with this. I haven't tested it, so I don't believe that it does work. Go ahead and head into your inventory and equip that Truth rocket launcher and look to see if you have a class item that increases the upgrade rate for rocket launchers. I don't believe I have one on this character, so we're going to go ahead and not use one of those. Instead, we're going to use something called a Heavy Telemetry. Heavy telemetries can be purchased from the gunsmith for about 250 glimmer each, I believe. They increased the upgrade rate for heavy weapons for 30 minutes. Very good to have a couple of those on you at all times. When you have that active, it will take 6 motes of light to actually fully upgrade the Truth rocket launcher. If you had a class item, it would do the same thing as a heavy telemetry, so saves you some glimmer there. If you had the Nightfall buff as well, the Radiant Light buff also affects experience gain on the rocket launcher, making it only take 5 motes of light, which is much better. I know I use 7. I'm sorry, I keep miscounting that, but it takes 6 or 5 with the Nightfall buff. So this is full of experience now. Go ahead and unequip it and dismantle this, and now your exotic shard that you used to purchase this turns into 2 exotic shards, some motes, weapon parts, and glimmer back for you there. So super useful for finding more exotic shards without having to spend strange coins. But that's pretty much going to be it from me. Hopefully that helps to some degree. Recommendations, pick up Hard Light if you want to mess around with it. Otherwise, save your coins for next week. Hopefully it has some better alternatives. There's been pretty lackluster lately. I don't really know why they're doing that, but, you know, that's pretty much what he's gotten where he is down in the Hunter Lounge over there. Anyway, that's going to be pretty much it from me. If you want to see other stuff I'm doing solo and co-op, links in the description, doing some fun stuff in Dark Souls right now, cooperatively. Twitter and Twitch links down there as well if you want to follow me on those sites too. Anyway, that's going to be pretty much it from me, so thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, very much appreciated, and as always, until next time.